From what we know from library surveillance footage, shortly after 3 o'clock, 5 teenagers came into the building. 3 of the 5 went into the restroom, the men's restroom, while the 2 others stayed near the restroom door, acting as what we believe to be lookouts. After entering the restroom, shortly after entering, there was gunfire. At least 2 of the 3 individuals who had gone into the restroom were armed. 2 of the 3 were wounded, 1 in the groin, the other in the foot. The victim, the teen who was wounded in the foot, fled the library, went up the hill, up Clarksville Pike just a distance, where he was found and aid was administered. The individual who was shot in the groin was assisted out of the restroom by a staff member here at the library after the gunfire occurred, and he was transported from the building to a local hospital. Both individuals have what appear to be non-critical injuries. Again, 1 shot in the foot, the other shot in the groin. The individual who was shot in the groin did come out of the restroom with a gun. We do have his weapon inside the library, and we are working now diligently to identify and bring into custody the 2 other teens, actually the 3 other teens who were actually in the library as well. We know the victims, the 2 people shot, are teenagers. We're still confirming their dates of birth.
Anyone in custody right now?
Well, you have the person shot in the groin who was armed, and we need to determine whether he is the one who shot the other person in the foot. So 2 of the persons who we presume at this point to have been armed, the one who was shot in the groin for sure was, we're still working to confirm whether the one shot in the foot had a gun. We only have 1 gun at this point, but we think that more than 1 gun was taken into the restroom by the 3 teens.
So just to recap, apologies, 3 teens entering the restroom with 2 teens currently inside, 2 of the 3 who entered armed. The ones entered, were they the ones injured?
So let me take it again from the top.
Thank you.
Shortly after 3 o'clock, 5 teens entered the library. 3 of the teens entered the men's room, while the 2 others appeared to act as lookouts while the other 3 were in the restroom. We obviously think these 3 individuals were known to each other. There is obviously some type of beef between these 3. While they were in the restroom, shots were fired, and 2 of the 3 individuals were wounded. 1 was shot in the groin. He remained in the restroom immediately after the gunfire and was assisted out. We do have his weapon. The person shot in the foot fled the library up the hill here at the rear, where he was found by first responders and aid was administered before he went to the hospital. The 2 individuals are in non-critical condition. We have good information now as we attempt to confirm the identities of the other 3 who were with the 2 wounded individuals, and we are working to bring them into custody, if for nothing else, for questioning to determine exactly what occurred and why, as far as them coming into the library, going directly to the restroom, what was behind all of this. Okay?
One question. So sorry. You do believe that all the people involved knew each other, like this wasn't a random attack?
No. And the gunfire occurred in the restroom after these teens entered, and no one else was in the restroom other than the teens. There were other persons inside the library, obviously, when it happened, but they were not in proximity to the gunfire. The gunfire was confined to the restroom.
And Don, you said that there was beef between the 3 that were in the restroom?
there obviously was something going on between them, some type of bad blood, because there appears to have been an exchange of gunfire between them.
We spoke with someone who believes that they may know someone who, one of the, fair to say, teenagers that was shot. The person that we spoke with kind of said he believes that he's worked closely with some of those, if it is correct that he does know one of the victims, that they're kind of a troubled group of teens. He was trying to help get them on the right path. Do we know anything about their history?
Not yet, no.
A library bathroom just seems like a weird place to handle some beef. Do you think does it appear that it was targeted, like they went in there with that objective in mind, or did it just happen while they were in?
Well, I would agree with you that a library restroom is not the place to go in and try to settle some type of dispute with gunfire. I think that at least some of these teens live in this immediate area and probably have been to this library in the past, and this was the location that they went to today, and they chose the restroom.
We saw a fairly active scene, a lot of heavily armed law enforcement patrolling the area. Is that just standard protocol, or is there any fear that there could be a threat to the public?
No, the call came in as an active shooter, that an active shooter inside the building. That's the way the call came in, and obviously when police officers got here, they were able to quickly determine that the gunfire was confined to the restroom, that there was no active shooter inside the building, that one of the persons and his gun was still there. He was wounded, and the other person, the other shooting victim, was outside the building up the street a ways.
Thank you.
Okay?
Now, we don't know if all five had a firearm. Is there any?
No, we believe there were at least 2 guns involved. There were at least 2 guns inside the restroom from what we believe at present, from the 3 individuals who went inside.
Can you determine how many shots were fired? I'm sorry.
No, I don't.
Do you know what kind of gun was utilized?
I haven't looked at it closely, no.
Hey Don, I just want to ask, these are some young people, we're still figuring out the ages, but what are your thoughts about just these young people coming here to a public place where people are, libraries there to learn, to grow? What are your thoughts just on young people being involved in this shooting investigation?
Well, it's very troubling when you have teenagers armed with guns who come into a public place, a library, and yeah, they went into the restroom and had the exchange of gunfire in the restroom, but nevertheless, it's troubling not only for the police department, but it should be troubling for all of us as Nashvillians. This should not be happening with our teens.